Okay, so hey guys, so today's video is going to be a requested video from a subscriber. I thought this was such a great idea for me to film a video like this, and this is a makeup for beginners video, recommendations that I think that are good for people that are first starting out with makeup. She asked me to do this video. I forget her name. I think it's Erin Haus. Please tell me I'm saying your name right. Hold on. Let me see. I know this is such a great way of starting off the video. But she was super sweet and asked me to do a video based on what my favorite products are for beginners. It's basically like a Holy Grail video too, but I really want to do the Holy Grail Ride or Die makeup tag at some point, Jaclyn Hill's tag, but let me just check what her name was. Yeah, Erin Haus. Okay, so I did get it right. So she's around like the same age as me. I am in my late 20s, just putting it out there. She said she's around 30. So basically, I'm kind of like just talking about stuff that I really like, that hopefully she'll end up liking too. And also, I have dry skin, so I'm going to be talking about things that I think that are really great for dry skin, and also some universal things as well. And I probably will give you the alternative for oily skin. So let's just jump right in and start with primers. So I think that these are my two favorite primers, but I'm going to start with this one first because I think that this one is the most universal for all skin types, and I think you just can't go wrong with this one. This one is the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, and this is the oil-free. Try to go for something oil-free. You don't have to, because most people try to stray away from things that don't have oil in them, and sometimes oils can actually help your skin more. Not if you're oily, I guess, but I would say this is perfect for dry skin and for oily skin. I love this primer. I've used it so much, as you can see. I use the Smashbox Primer Water more every single day, but that's more for dry skin. But I use that basically every day as like a prepping step to make my skin really hydrated. But this is really great just to start off as a makeup base, and you only use this, you're good to go. Because I just feel like it really makes your skin really smooth and ready for foundation to go on so smoothly. I think it's just perfect for that. It doesn't really do as much of like blurring pores and correcting redness. It's just a really great primer that makes your foundation stick to the skin and really makes your foundation last a really long time. So that's what I really love this for. If you're for more like looking for something that's going to even out your skin tone, that's going to mostly like subside your redness and like brighten up your skin, I've raved about this. I think you guys know what I'm going to talk about, but this is literally my favorite primer ever, and I feel like that this is really great for girls that are older, in their 20s or later, because you start developing some type of redness or some type of darkness on your skin. It happens to all of us. Nobody has perfect skin, and I would suggest this for that. This is the Stila One Step Corrector. I'm telling you guys, this is like crack in a bottle. It just does everything in one step, and that's why it's so genius, because it corrects your redness with the green, it brightens with the lavender, and it cancels out darkness with the orange. I think that's just a perfect combination. I just can't get enough of this. This is my second bottle of it, and I did use it today. I just think that this stuff is absolutely amazing. It took me so long to try it, and I finally bought it during 21 Days of Beauty, and I am absolutely obsessed with it. There are days where or weeks where I just use this and nothing else, because I just feel like it gets the job done in one step. I don't need to do anything else. So if you're someone who's in a hurry every morning and you don't have time to do like a full face of makeup, but only like some foundation and concealer and mascara, this is definitely your best friend, because it's gonna make you look like you are woken up. So like, it just helps everything and improves everything. It just is amazing. So I can't rave about that enough. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is a really great primer for dry skin. Again, I would say any of these primers for oily skin would be absolutely perfect, because these are awesome primers. This is definitely the most expensive one that I'm going to be talking about, which is crazy, because I feel like this one is worth it. The price, this one is $30, but since it does so much, I really love it. This one I believe is $30 as well. Primers are not expensive, dude, but Smashbox is definitely my favorite brand for primers as well. I think they make amazing primers. And the last one I'm going to be talking about is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer in the Nourishing Primer. I absolutely love this for my nose area. I've never really found a primer that helps my nose area be prepped for foundation and make it go on less patchy, because my nose area is such a problem for me that I find that this really, really helps and really, really works. And any of these are amazing for oily skin, like the mattifying primer or the, I know there's another one, but the smoothing primer is probably the most universal, which I probably would have mentioned too, but it's not my absolute favorite primer. Like the Smashbox and the Stila are my favorite ones. So that's why I really wanted to go for the ones that are my absolute favorites. But this Skin Equalizer is really great for if you suffer with dry patches, or you have like just really dry skin. I really think that it hydrates really well. And also the hydrating primer is a great option too. But this one I love. And this is like one of the only primers that doesn't irritate me around my nose either. I'm not saying that I develop redness from any other primers by irritation. It just like stings a little bit. You know what I mean? But I do absolutely love this for that reason. And sometimes I just put it all over my face because I love how it feels. Now let's jump into foundation. I'm not going to be talking about too many drugstore alternatives because I'm not a drugstore girl. If you don't like that, you don't have to watch the video, but I really am a huge person when it comes to high-end foundation. I really do love high-end brands, but I think for foundation, I think foundation should be the one thing that you invest your money in the most. Not to say go out and spend your money on a $60 foundation, but I have never found a foundation that works better than this one. And I'm wearing a $60 foundation today as well, and they're probably my two favorite foundations ever, but this one is my ride or die. I use it all the time, literally at least twice a week. And if I don't know what other foundation to use, and I don't know, if I just want my skin to look good without worrying about anything looking cakey, this is the foundation I'm always grabbing for. I just think it looks amazing on everyone, and I feel like this is the most universal. Even people with oily skin love this foundation as well. And I'm going to be talking about the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This is a really pricey foundation, but I have purchased this twice already, and I make the investment every time because I just think that it's amazing. It's just so lightweight. It really evens out your skin tone. You need something that evens out your skin tone. If you don't have problem skin, don't go for something that's full coverage unless it's like for a special occasion or something that you want to last all day without breaking up. Even though I've had this foundation on like for 8 hours and it still looks freaking flawless. It's the same thing with this as well. I'm actually wearing the Dior Airflash Spray Foundation today, which is one of my absolute favorites. But if I would have to go for one that's in that price range, I would head over, like, just if I had to, oh my god, I can't finish a thought right now. If I threw out all my other foundations out tomorrow and just had this, I would literally survive on this for the rest of my life. I love it that much. I've heard that a really good dupe for this foundation is the Maybelline Pro Glow Infallible Foundation. Not Maybelline, L'Oreal. But I'm kind of thinking about branching out and trying a drugstore foundation. I heard that like the Neutrogena one's really good. I heard that most of the L'Oreal ones are good, so I might try one eventually because I do try a lot of drugstore concealers and mascaras, but this by far is my absolute favorite foundation, hands down. And I think that it's perfect for beginners because it has a light, luminous coverage without looking cakey. It just makes you look luminous and fresh and healthy, and that's why I love it. And I always apply my foundation with a beauty blender. I wasn't going to go into brushes in this video because she specifically asked about makeup for beginners, but I think I'm going to be doing a talk through tutorial after this and showing you guys how all the products work. But I didn't want to make the video 10 million years long, so I'd rather talk about all the products in this video and then talk about using them on my face in another video, so I thought that that would just work better. But yeah, Beauty Blender is my absolute ride or die. This is like basically a ride or die video, I swear to God, but it's literally my holy grail makeup product because I use this for absolutely everything. I use this to pounce my foundation on my face. I use it for my nose area, and then I use it for my concealer. Invest in a Beauty Blender, I'm telling you right now. It's the absolute best investment you'll ever make because it makes your foundation look airbrushed every single time. Okay, now let's jump into concealers. These are my absolute 2 favorite concealers that I'm going to talk about. If you don't want to spend the money on this one, then go for the other one that I'm going to be talking about. But this is literally my favorite concealer that I feel like everybody needs in their life. This is literally the best concealer I've ever used. And this is the Urban Decay Naked Skin Complete Coverage Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer, not serum concealer. This is my like 6th bottle of this. I go through this like absolutely crazy, but I just find that it's the best concealer of all time. So many people feel the same way. I am telling you, if you don't have this, you need this in your life. I just think it's perfect. It's lightweight, full coverage, blends beautifully. I'm wearing it today. I just love how it looks all the time. I love this so much more than the Too Faced Born This Way. I don't know what it is about that foundation that I just don't like, but foundation, concealer. I forgot to mention the Urban Decay foundation that I wanted to talk about. Let me talk about that really quick. If you want to go for something that is full coverage, which I suggest you don't if you don't have problem skin. You don't need it if you don't have problem skin unless you need something, again, if you need something that lasts all day, like if you go to the city and you want something that's sweat proof, this and the Urban Decay setting spray is going to be your best friend. Or if you need something that like you're hoping that won't sweat off in the summertime, or you need something for a special occasion, I would go for this foundation. This is my absolute favorite full coverage foundation. And this is the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Longwear Liquid Foundation. I love the Born This Way as well, but I would suggest this because this is even more full coverage than that. And I just think it goes on really beautifully. So I would suggest this if you need something that lasts all day. But I wouldn't go for something like that if you don't need it for everyday wear, because that is not an everyday wear foundation whatsoever, unless you have acne. But yeah, this is my favorite concealer ever. And then my favorite drugstore concealer that I would recommend 100% if you don't want to spend the money on the Urban Decay is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. As you can see, this just went through the frickin' ringer. But I love this concealer so much. It's definitely kind of dupable to the Urban Decay. It's just a little bit less coverage than the Urban Decay, but it's so beautiful. It blends out so gorgeously. I love using this for no makeup looks because I just feel like it looks perfect every time. So I love this as well. And then for me, I really love mixing my concealers with something that has a little bit of pink in it because I have pink undertones in my skin. I'm not yellow tone whatsoever. I have like a cool pink undertone, I would think. So I would suggest this. This is literally one of my holy grail products. I use this every single day. I just love how it looks. It makes your under eyes look so beautiful and bright. This is the MAC Prep and Prime in Radiant Rose. I just love how it makes the under eyes look. It always makes it look so brightening. It kind of adds a little bit more coverage for your concealer. You can also even use this as a concealer on its own if you don't like the yellow tone in this, or if you don't like the neutral tone in this, if you like something a little bit more pink. But it doesn't look pink. It just has a hint of pink in it, and it's beautiful. I love this. So if you want to go for something like that, I would suggest that. Okay, now let's talk about one setting powder because this is my absolute favorite setting powder for dry skin. I feel like nothing can top this. I am going to try the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation Compact at some point because people are saying that that's really awesome for dry skin. But this is my favorite setting powder for dry skin. This is the MAC Realized Skin Finish Natural in the shade Medium. Now I want to say, before I go into everything else, the primer is to make your foundation stay on, but primer is a very important step in your makeup because it also kind of blocks out the liquids from the foundation and helps your skin not get as damaged from foundation. and also makes your makeup last all day. Foundation is to cover up redness and imperfections and to even out your skin tone. Concealer is literally my best friend. I love concealer so much. I could literally live on concealer, powder, and mascara for the rest of my life. But if you have a good concealer, you don't even have to wear foundation every single day because concealer can do mostly everything that foundation can't do. Foundation can do. If you put it under your eyes, on your nose, around your mouth area, even on your eyes and on your forehead, you're good to go. Just set it with a powder and you're out the door. I just think that concealer is so universal. You can use it for everything, like literally everything. So, and then you want a good setting powder to, for me, since I have dry skin, I like using setting powder to make my blush and bronzer go on a lot smoother, and also it helps with making your foundation stay in place when you put on your bronzer or your blush. If you experience any texture when you put on your foundation, it's because you're not putting a powder on top of it. Because think about it, you're putting a powder on top of a liquid. Think about that you would have to set that liquid before you put a powder product on it. It's like putting on a liquid illuminator. You're supposed to put on your liquids before you put on any powders. So think about if you put on like a liquid highlighter, you always have to set that with a powder. If you're putting on a liquid foundation, you have to set it, I think, no matter what, because then it makes everything else apply so much more smoothly. And if you have very dry skin, I understand if you don't want to put it on, but just a very light dusting of powder really makes a difference, because then it makes the powders that you put on top of it, it doesn't make the foundation move around. That's the difference between having oily skin and dry skin. The foundation can still move around when you apply powders on top of it. So that's why I feel like a setting powder is still really important. So I use the Magnolia Skin Finish Natural in the shade medium because this is my absolute favorite. It's just so super lightweight. It never looks cakey ever. Ever. It's so gorgeous. And it even helps add a little bit of extra coverage and just makes your skin look flawless. So this is literally my favorite. I just pat it on with my Eco Tools powder brush, and then I just feel like it really, really helps apply the other powders you put on top of it really nicely. So this is definitely my favorite one. I've also been loving the It Cosmetics one, but this is definitely my absolute favorite. So now let's get into more exciting stuff and talk about the eyeshadows. But I just want to talk about one primer. This is probably my favorite primer ever. I feel like no matter what skin type you have as well, you always need to use a good eyeshadow primer because it makes the eyeshadows stick to your eyes, makes them more pigmented, and makes them last all day. Doesn't matter if you have oily skin or dry skin. Primers are much more essential for oily skin and powders, but primers for your eyes, it definitely brings out the pigment in your eyeshadows. Like if you think that you have an eyeshadow that doesn't really come off the way that you want it to, like on your lid and stuff like that, it's because you're not using a good primer. Sometimes it can completely change the performance of the eyeshadow just by adding a base to it, like a colorful eye base or a regular primer. So this is the Smashbox 24-Hour Photo Finish Primer. This is definitely the most universal primer I could suggest. It's phenomenal. Makes your eyeshadows last all day and really makes them pop. I've had this on 8 hours already and my eyeshadow looks like I just put it on. So I don't sweat that much though. So my eyeshadow lasts a really long time, but this is like my favorite primer ever. I absolutely love it. Okay, now let's jump into, and also when I know I'm all over the place. When I put primer on, I love setting it down with a powder as well. Again, not because I have dry skin, but it really helps the other eyeshadows go on really nicely after that because, again, you're putting on like a type of liquid on your eyes. You think about setting it. Basically, any liquid you put on your face, you have to set with some type of powder. So, unless you just you're not about that life, then do you. But I like setting things, and I, again, put a very light dusting on, but I use this basically as like a base. You could use an eyeshadow too, that's fine. But I just like using this because I like that it still looks pretty much my skin tone, and that's why I like using that rather than using like a brighter eyeshadow. So let's get into eyeshadows. So I would suggest if you're going for eyeshadows on a budget and you really want something that just will work for every single day, I think people are already going to know what I'm going to say anyway, but I am going to suggest some palettes as well. But I think eyeshadows are the most difficult to suggest to some people because everyone is different and everybody likes different eyeshadow palettes and different eyeshadows. But I would say, even though this is probably really repetitive, that a good brown eyeshadow is basically your best friend because you're going to use it every single day of your life. If you don't have a good matte, warm, or cool tone, whatever floats your boat, if you're warm or if you like warm tones or if you like cool tones, then you don't have to use it. You can use concealer on your eyes and mascara, but it does make your eyes look a little bit bigger. It makes your eyes look warmed up and fresh and more awake. So that's all I would say about eyeshadows. But if you're on a budget and you want to buy a few eyeshadows that you think are going to work for you, I would suggest Makeup Geek shadows because they are definitely by far the best matte eyeshadows. And they have really great shimmery shades too, but I think their mattes are probably even better. There are some gems for the shimmery eyeshadows in here, and their foiled shadows are amazing as well. But if you're not comfortable with using the foiled shadows, I would suggest any of these eyeshadows in this palette. Even the MAC shadows that I have in here are amazing as well. But any of these shadows on this top row are basically, I use these so much on a daily basis, like you have no idea. So the one shadow that I would definitely 100% recommend that I feel like everybody needs is Makeup Geek's Creme Brulee. As you can see, I've used the crap out of it. I am a huge warm toned eyeshadow girl. I absolutely love warm tones. As you can see, I'm wearing a very warm toned eyeshadow look today. But when it comes to a crease, a warm eyeshadow is my ride or die. And I just think that this eyeshadow works for anyone. And I love it. I think it's so beautiful. So I just run this through my crease with a lid shade and an inner corner shade and a brow bone shade. And that's literally all you need. You don't need to do a million steps where you're defining the crease, chiseling out your crease. You don't need to do that every day. So I just think it's the most beautiful shade for every day. So I would definitely suggest that one. And then for a brow bone highlight, let me go in order of how I apply my makeup. First off, I said that you need a really great warm eyeshadow for your crease, but you also need a great transition shade for everyday looks or any looks, but I'm not that great at colorful eyeshadow looks. I'm better at neutral looks because sometimes I don't know what to pair with colorful eyeshadow looks. Sometimes I'm just, I'm a little bit afraid sometimes and I don't step out of my comfort zone and I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is going to look good or not. But I would say get a transition shade for everyday looks because those are the looks you're going to be doing all the time. If you're looking for work looks, this is what you're going to be doing all the time. So you want a good transition shade that's good for your skin tone. Obviously, I'm not going to suggest this eyeshadow for everybody, but this is literally my favorite transition shade ever. I use it every day. And this is also a solid palette if you want to go for something for beginners because this has a lot of good eyeshadows in here that you could use for literally every day. This is another Makeup Geek palette. This is the Manny MUA Makeup Geek palette, and I love this palette. But the only reason why I have it out is to talk about this shade right here. And this shade is called Beaches and Cream. It's such a gorgeous beige, yellowish, warm tone. So perfect for fair skin. It's literally like my favorite for fair skin. You're not really going to see it when I swatch it, but it's my absolute favorite transition shade. It applies a lot more pigmented than it does when you swatch it, but I use it every day as my transition shade. I just think it's warm without being orange, and that's why I really love it. So I use this every day, and I think that this is a really solid palette for, like, this shade Sora is so beautiful in the crease. This is beautiful on the lid. This is beautiful as an outer corner shade, but these are basically all shades that I'm going to be talking about, but this shade is solid. And then you can use these shades for more colorful looks and still use these in the crease, you know? Like, there's no rules to makeup. There's no, like, rule book that you should be following. I'm just trying to give you basics on what I do for every day. I'm not saying by all means that I know what I'm doing, but this is what I've learned, and this is what I've been trying to perfect every day. You know, it's not easy. So, then after that, you want to go in with a good lid shade. But I suggest you go in with something that defines your crease just a little bit to warm things up and give your eyes a little bit of dimension without going like overboard. So I would suggest any two of these shades right here. This one is Frappe and this one is Latte. Literally, these are like such good eyeshadows to have as well because Frappe is a warm brown and Latte is a cool tone brown. So if you have either of these, you can use these for like any look to warm them up or to cool them down a little bit if you're into warmer cool tones. So Frappe looks like this, and it's a really beautiful warm toned brown. That's what it looks like right there. And then the other one is Latte, which is this really gorgeous cool tone brown, which I love as well for everyday looks. These are literally my go-to shades for everyday looks. I do this look so often. And then if you want a really good brow bone highlight, this is my favorite brow bone highlight. I use this so much. This one is Vanilla Bean. This one is also perfect for fair skin tones as well because it's just really, it's like literally my skin tone and I just love it. If I swatch it, you're not really going to see it. And then I would suggest for a lid shade, I would go with, I'm trying to go a little bit faster because I feel like I talk forever. This one is Makeup Geek's Shimma Shimma, and this is a gorgeous lid shade. And if you pop that on the lid, oh, it's just so gorgeous. And then the other one is Rapunzel, and lid shades can work for the lid and for the inner corners. You could literally pop both on the lid on the inner corners and it makes it look so beautiful. I'm going to go through all of this in the demo when I record the demo, but I'm just giving you an overview on what shadows that I would use for my skin tone. If you have a darker skin tone, I would suggest, you know, stuff that works for you like golds or darker like matte browns, but it's up to you. And then like literally any of these shades down here, these are all MAC shades. These are perfect for the lid. Max Nylon is my favorite inner corner highlight. It's an amazing shade. This shade on the lid, All That Glitters, is amazing. Soft Brown is like the most popular crease shade ever. It's amazing. And then these ones are from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Birkin is amazing for the crease. These two are great for the lid. Her mattes are absolutely phenomenal. They're probably the most blendable, but still Makeup Geek ones are amazing as well. And then Blanc Type as well from Makeup Geek is great for the brow bone. So I'm going to stop rambling about these, but I absolutely love them. And I would just suggest probably these 4 foiled shadows from Makeup Geek. But I'm just going to talk about one of them because this is literally, if you want something that's a little bit brighter than the ones that I talked about, this one, Starry Eyed, is my favorite one. I love this shade and it's just so beautiful. It's literally breathtaking. Like, this is literally like my favorite eyeshadow from Makeup Geek. I would have talked about Colourpop ones, but I feel like we would have been here forever. They're not really as great for beginners as these are. But look at that. It's so gorgeous, and you just pop that on the lid, and I feel like you look so put together. And then you could put Shimma Shimma or Rapunzel on the inner corners. So that's it for Makeup Geek. I am going to be talking about a couple palettes now. I'm going to be talking about 2 Too Faced palettes because I'm going to talk about a cool tone one and a warm tone one. The first one Too Faced, again, are like my other favorite eyeshadows. I just love their eyeshadows. The first palette I'm going to be talking about is the Too Faced Natural Eyes palette. If you, again, are a little bit hesitant about putting your own eyeshadows together, I would suggest these palettes because they have so many things that you could use for every single day. So this one is the first one I would suggest if you're more into cool tone eyeshadows. This is probably my holy grail eyeshadow palette. I don't know why, but I just think it's so pretty and I just love the result of it every single time. Again, these are more cool tone shades, but I find that they just look so pretty for every day. Nudie is really great in the crease. This one is great on the lid. This one is great on the brow bone. So I'm just showing you an option on what you could go for. The Too Faced Natural Matte palette is also amazing. But if you want more warm tone shades, this is great if you want cool tone shades for every day. And then the other one I wanted to show you is the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette. Any of the chocolate bar palettes are so amazing for beginners. I find that these are the most blendable and the easiest eyeshadows to work with from Too Faced. They're a little bit more buttery, but I like the harder ones as well, if you know what I mean. They're a little bit stiffer in the pan. These ones aren't, and this is my favorite one out of the 3 palettes. But I also wanted to suggest this one to go with like a warmer tone palette. It's just so, these are really easy to work with and really blendable. It's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today as well. I'm wearing mousse in the crease, and then I darkened up the crease more with peanut butter, and then I went in with truffled on the outer corner. So it's not like a difficult look. I only used like 4 or 5 eyeshadows from this palette, and that was it. And what I also find is really essential as well is that I don't wear eyeliner every single day. So what I do sometimes is I just smudge an eyeshadow on my lower lash line, and I didn't do that for the longest time, but I feel like it really helps your eyes just look more defined and a little bit more awake if you just take a small brush and smudge one of the like crease shades that you used in your crease, and it looks really, really good. I used mousse on the lower lash line, and it's really easy to do and a simple step that makes your eyes just look more put together. So, and then the last one I'm going to talk about, basically you're probably sick of hearing about this palette as well, but this is literally such a universal palette that I feel like just everybody needs it, is the Urban Decay Naked palette, because this is literally, you could probably just buy this palette and be good for basically the rest of your life. I love this palette so much. It's just so easy to use. You can create so many looks with it, and I just absolutely love it. So these like 6 or, oh my god, like all of these shades are so perfect for every day. You can come up with a different look like every time, like I do. I know I do. But Naked and Buck are like amazing for the crease. Naked's such a beautiful color in the crease. But also these lid shades are beautiful, like Version and Sin and Sidecar. I mean, I'm giving you so many options. But these are, again, more for fair-toned girls. But if you like are a little bit darker tone, I would suggest probably the Naked 2 palette, or like, but this is great for dark tone girls as well because it has gold in there. So I think that gold looks really great on darker tone girls. So that is it for eyeshadow. Now let's move on to like mascara and eyeliner. So again, I don't really wear eyeliner every single day. Sometimes if I don't have time, because literally eyeliner is my least favorite step of makeup. But if I would suggest an eyeliner, I really love felt tip eyeliners. If you're not comfortable using felt tip eyeliners, go for like NYX eyeliners because they have great eyeliners. They have great drugstore alternatives. But if I would suggest felt tip eyeliners, I would go for the Stila Stay All Day eyeliners. Eyeliner is definitely the most difficult step in most, beginners' makeup. But this is the order that I do my makeup in. I do my eyeshadow first, and then I always do my liner afterwards. But this is the brown and this is the black. I just find that these work really great, and I just find that felt tip liners are a lot easier for me to use than pencils or liquids. I actually really love the Urban Decay Razor Sharp eyeliners, but I feel like that's not really a beginner's eyeliner, but I just feel like felt tip eyeliners kind of make it idiot proof for you to use eyeliner. I'm not trying to be mean, but I struggle with eyeliner so much. I'm so bad at it that I think that this really makes it really easy to do eyeliner. So again, I'll go more into this stuff in the demo. I just want to go a little bit faster so I'm not here forever. For mascara, mascara is kind of a no-brainer. It's not very hard to pick out a mascara. The mascara I'm loving at the moment is the It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. Mascara really helps to open up your eyes, and literally sometimes all you need is concealer and mascara on your eyes and you look good to go. And then this might be a little bit excessive, but I do always apply a separate bottom lash mascara every day, but this is my favorite one, and this is the MAC Extended Play Black Lash. This is my third tube of this. I constantly repurchase this all the time, and it really does help. So you like just wiggle it a little bit, and it makes you just look put together. So I absolutely love, I just don't feel like I need to go into mascaras that much. Mascaras are kind of like a no-brainer. You know that they go on your lashes. They're not very hard to apply. And then I always go in with my concealer under my eyes, and I always use a beauty blender because, again, it's your best friend. Make sure you always apply it like around this area and then buff it in and pounce it in. Never wipe your concealer around because then it's going to crease like crazy. And then you always want to set your concealer. So what I use is the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, and I use a small Real Techniques brush, and I just pounce that over the concealer so I can set it, and it won't go anywhere and it won't crease. So that's definitely my favorite under eye setting powder. Some other good ones, you could even, if you don't want to spend the money on a separate under eye powder, you could always just use the MAC powder to set under your eyes as well. So now let's jump into some blushes. Not blushes, bronzers. The first bronzer I want to talk about is the Marc Jacobs Instamark Dreamer Filter. I actually just got more into bronzing up my skin recently. I used to just only contour, and now I really love bronzing. This is definitely by far my favorite bronzing powder ever. If you can see, I've used so much of it. I just think, I know that this is expensive, but look how much product you're getting. I just think this is so perfect and universal for fair skin tones. It's just the perfect shade. It's not too cool tone. It's not too warm tone. It still kind of is a little bit warm. It's like in between. I don't know how he made this shade, but it's literally just so beautiful. It's a little bit more cool tone than like Latte. It's a little bit lighter. That one is that one right there. And you could also use this as a setting powder under your eyes as well, because this is a really great brightening powder too. I don't use it for that because I always use the Laura Mercier, but this is a great alternative as well. If you don't want to spend the money on this, even though I just feel like this is so easy to use, it's so blendable, and it just makes it so easy for like everyday use. It's my favorite everyday bronzer. Bronzer adds color to your face after you put your foundation on, because when you put foundation on, your skin is going to be washed out, and you need to add color back into your skin to balance out the foundation. So my favorite bronzer, like ever, I think, is the Too Faced Sweethearts bronzer. And this one is a little bit less expensive than the Marc Jacobs. I mean, it's still $30, but I absolutely love this, and I use this so much. I used it today. It's so beautiful for an all-over glow, all over your face. So what you do is you buff it in around your cheeks, around your forehead area, and around your chin. Also, bronzer is really great for darkening up foundation. If you picked out a foundation that is a little bit too dark for you and you want something to match your neck a little bit more, just run your bronzer down your neck, and it helps even out the color of it, because after your foundation, you put on your foundation, it does oxidize. Also, please remember to blend your foundation down to your neck, because if you don't do that, your foundation is going to look like a mask, and it's not going to look natural at all, because it's going to end down here, and all you're going to see is just like a line here of where the foundation stops and where your actual skin tone starts. So please run down your foundation to your neck, and then also, if you want to, you don't have to, But I just feel like bronzer is such an essential step for me now, because sometimes I would just skip contouring because I wouldn't like feel like I would want to do it because I feel like it takes longer than bronzer. But I just feel like it really makes your skin brightened up and makes it look healthy and glowy. So that's why I love bronzer. And then I want to just talk about a couple of blushes. I would suggest for blushes, if you're first starting out, I think that MAC blushes are probably your best bet. I think that MAC blushes are just so universal for anybody. I was going to talk about Becca blushes and NARS blushes because those are my favorites. Like NARS's Madly is my absolute favorite blush, but those are really pricey that I kind of wanted to go with something a little bit more less expensive, and I just feel like blush is so personable. Like, you could go for a nude blush every day, you could go for like a corally blush every day, or you could go for like a pinky blush every day. People are all different. They're sometimes going to want, you know, different blushes for every day, or they just use one every day. But I just feel like my MAC blushes have the most variety that I wanted to show you these ones. So my suggestion for a perfect everyday blush is MAC's Margin. This blush is just absolutely gorgeous, I think, on anyone. And I think that you're really going to love it as well. It just adds like a beautiful glow to your cheeks. And it's not matte. It kind of reminds me of NARS's Madly, but I just think that this is beautiful. I didn't want to make it all my holy grails, and I probably should have grabbed Madly because that's my favorite. But Margin is so similar that I think that you could get away with this as well. See, it's not matte at all. And then for like a corally blush for like everyday use is MAC Spring Sheen. This one is phenomenal. I absolutely love this blush. It has that beautiful sheen to it as well. I'm getting like eyeshadow pigment on me. And then one, I don't really have a pinky blush in here. Well Dressed is a great one, but I don't really use this for everyday use. I'm going to talk about Makeup Geek blushes in a second. But the individual pans are actually less expensive than the compacts, so that's why I would suggest MAC ones. I think they're like $12 a piece, so that's not like completely breaking the bank. And then the other ones I'm going to talk about are Makeup Geek blushes. Makeup Geek blushes are amazing. They're super pigmented, remind me of the formula of MAC ones as well. Spellbound is probably my absolute favorite. If you want to go for something that's a little bit more of like a nudie pink, I would suggest this. It's just such a gorgeous everyday blush. I absolutely love this. I really want to use this again as I'm talking about it. I'm actually not wearing any of these blushes today. I'm wearing a blush from the Balm. But this blush is so beautiful. And that's what it looks like right there. Oh, it's so pretty. I would probably just suggest that one. And then Infatuation is probably my favorite everyday blush. It's just a really great warm tone matte blush. It's really, really beautiful. And these are a lot less expensive. They're like $8 a piece. And that's what it looks like right there. But also for Makeup Geek or MAC or anything like that, you always have to buy the Z palettes. You can buy Z palettes on Ulta.com. You can also get them in Sephora because I have a Sephora palette right here. Or you can get them on zpalette.com. So that is it for blushes. And then for highlighters. Let's talk about some highlighters. So blushes is supposed to put the color back into your skin, even though I read this really funny thing. I forgot who said it. That, I think it was Ready, Set, Glamour. She's like, with foundation, you cancel back out the redness, and then with blush, you just put it right back in, which is so funny. But blush and highlighter are some of my favorite things to apply. Highlighter, I'm not really sure what highlighter is supposed to do. I'm just obsessed with highlighter. I love just that I'm all about that glow life. Like, I go apeshit crazy over bronzer over highlighter basically any time of the year, especially summertime, because you can just go all out with it and all out with that shine. But I just really think it's supposed to reflect like the natural light of your face and really like just make your face glowy and beautiful. It's basically all I really have to say about it. But I feel like highlighter is such a huge thing in the past couple of years that I feel like it's just an essential. Now for me, I really love an intense highlighter, but This is an intense highlighter, but I also think it works for absolutely all skin tones. I don't know a highlighter that has been more talked about being universal and being more well-loved than this one right here. And this one is Becca's Shimmering Perfector in Champagne Pop. I know that I didn't talk about Becca blushes, but if you're going to invest in something that you know that it's going to look beautiful every single day when it comes to a highlight. Also, you don't have to highlight every day if that's not your thing. You don't need to use a highlighter, or you can just use an eyeshadow. If you want to use an eyeshadow for a highlight, Makeup Geek Shimma is a great highlighter. So is Kat Von D's Thunderstruck if you want to get something like that. But eyeshadows can work very universally. Some people use eyeshadows as contouring powders. Some people use eyeshadows as blushes. Some people use eyeshadows as highlighters. Some people use blushes as eyeshadows, and some people use bronzers as eyeshadows. So it's basically universal. And some people use highlighters as eyeshadows. So you can literally like skip over any of the eyeshadows I told you to get and just use this as an eyeshadow and just use the bronzer I mentioned as a crease shade. You can do that too. But this is literally my favorite highlighter. It just works for absolutely everyone. I use this so much, you have no idea. I was just on a kick of this the past couple of weeks, and this was all I was using. This is my favorite summer highlight as well, and it just looks like I barely touched it, but I am making a substantial dent in it in the center. But it's just so gorgeous. Every time I look at it, I'm like, oh my god, it is so beautiful. I never get tired of this highlight. It always looks amazing. I just think that Becca and Jaclyn Hill absolutely nailed it. That's what it looks like. Like, can we talk about that? Can we just, please? Look how beautiful that is. So, this is definitely my favorite universal highlight. But if you want a little bit more variety and you want to kind of like experiment a little bit with highlight, I would highly, highly, highly suggest these 3 kits. These are the Anastasia Glow Kits. I absolutely love the formula of these. I would think out of the 3, it's so hard to pick which one is the most universal because they all have pretty universal shades in them, because she did actually think about darker skin tones and put a couple of darker shades in there. But I would think that that glow is probably the most universal. This one is really beautiful, and this is what it looks like right here. This shade is really beautiful, but my 2 favorites are Bubbly and Dripping in Gold. I think that these are just really great for everyday use. But again, they're a little bit out there, but this is really great for the summertime because it's that really beautiful warmer tone shades. And then if you're more into like cooler tone shades and more for fair skin, I would suggest the Gleam Kit. And this one is a little bit more cool tone. It has like really beautiful pinky shades in it. And that's what it looks like right there. I use these so much. I absolutely love these. And I've used every shade in this one because, again, I feel like this is more geared towards like fairer skin tones. So I absolutely love this one too. And then the last one is Sun Dipped, which looks like this. And then we will jump into just finishing steps and lips. So this one is what it looks like right here. This is Sun Dipped. It's so gorgeous for the summertime. Summer and Moonstone. I really haven't even touched these 2 because I'm always using these 2 as highlights. They're just, the formula of these are amazing. So would definitely suggest these if you want to go for like more of like a kit and have a little bit more variety. And then I always think that people need a finishing powder for their makeup. This is a pricey item as well, but I just think that it makes your makeup look so flawless and airbrushed and just makes everything blended together. That's probably the most important thing, is that if you feel like your skin is not looking the best after you put on your foundation, putting this on in a setting spray I think helps your foundation so much and really brightens up your skin. And this is the Hourglass Ethereal Light Powder. I use this every day, every single day, because it really helps the appearance of your foundation to look a lot healthier and to make everything blend out beautifully. So I love this. And if I think anything looks dull, I'll wipe it under my eyes. I'll put it around my nose area. just to take away some of the dryness. And especially I'll use it to blend out my blush and bronzer more, and then also to blend my highlight more. So sometimes highlights can look like they sit on top of your skin, and this really helps to blend it into your skin. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about one lip liner. I forgot to grab the other one, but literally my go-to lip liner for every day is the MAC lip liner in the shade Subculture. I think that MAC makes like probably the best lip liners. I like the Colourpop ones, but I think the MAC ones are definitely the best. I'm wearing this one today. This one is called Stripdown. This is also great for everyday use as well. And it's a really beautiful, like, warm-toned brown shade. It's a little bit deeper than Subculture. Subculture is a little bit more nude. I just forgot to grab it. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to get up and grab it because this is such a long video already. But, I just think that they're better than, I can't even talk anymore. I've been talking so long. I think they're better than Colourpop ones. If you want something that's a little bit less expensive, I would suggest the NYX ones, or I would suggest the Colourpop ones. But lip liner is really important. I feel like I use it for absolutely everything because it really helps apply the lipstick a lot better. It also helps you stay in the lines. Lip liner is honestly a really big essential. You could also just use a lip liner if you don't feel comfortable using lipstick all the time, or you don't want to worry about lipstick moving around or reapplying it. You can just wear a lip liner and fill in your entire lips with it and you're good to go. But I would suggest those as lip liners. And then always set your makeup when you're done with it. Always set it with a setting spray because it really helps take away the powders on your face and also makes your face look airbrushed and also makes your makeup last all day. As I said, the Urban Decay setting sprays are definitely my favorites. I use the Urban Decay Chill Makeup Setting Spray like every day of my life. It's amazing. But it definitely 100% makes your makeup stay on so much better than not wearing it, honestly. And then for lips again are so personable. But I would suggest if you want to go somewhere that has the most variety and you think that you will find your perfect shade in there, I would suggest MAC lipsticks because they're not too expensive. If you really are worried about breaking the bank, I would suggest the Maybelline lipsticks, like the Color Sensational lipsticks. But if you are willing to spend a little bit more money, just pick one and you will be happy. I promise you. That works for you for every single day. Ask one of the ladies there and she will make a good suggestion for you. Based on your skin tone. But these are my absolute 3 favorites. But this one is my absolute favorite, probably most universal lipstick ever, and this is MAC's Velvet Teddy. This lipstick is so gorgeous, I can't even tell you. Like, it's just amazing. And these are all matte finishes because the matte finishes are my favorite formula. This one is Kinda Sexy. Every time somebody asks me the name of this lipstick too, like they're like, oh, it's so pretty. I'm like, yeah, it's called Kinda Sexy. That one is a lot more warmer toned, but it's like really beautiful. I just really love that. And most of these work for every single eye makeup look. And this one is Honey Love, and that one is a little bit more warmer. Again, I'm more of a warmer tone lipstick girl. If you like cooler tones, go for a cooler tone lipstick. I'm not telling you what to wear. And then another great alternative are the NARS Audacious lipsticks. This one is Brigitte. Actually, this one is Raquel. This is my other favorite nude. And this one is Brigitte. If you're more into like warmer tones, I would suggest Brigitte. This one is gorgeous. This is my mom's favorite lipstick. She uses it every day. She like never uses a different lipstick because it's basically the only lipstick she owns. She loves it. And me and my sister like convinced her to switch over to just NARS lipsticks. And this one is Raquel, which is literally like my favorite one. I'm not wearing either of these today. I'm wearing Bite Beauty's Honeycomb. Also, the Bite Beauty lipsticks are amazing as well for everyday use. And that's what it looks like right here. The NARS ones are very expensive, but if you just pick one, you're going to use it literally for every single day. That's why I feel like some things are worth the money in because you're going to get your money's worth out of it if you're going to use it every single day. And I just forgot to mention an eyeliner for the waterline. But I suggest that you don't even do waterline eyeliner until you're more comfortable with even doing your own eyeliner every single day. I didn't do this for the longest time, but if you're comfortable using a waterline eyeliner, the gel liners from Colourpop are amazing. Not all of them. I feel like the updated ones are a little bit, I don't know, they're a little bit iffy to me. I kind of don't love all of them and how they feel on the waterline. But Stomper, I think this is Stomper, right? It's the black eyeliner. It's the only black one. I think that this is great. And then for the brows, I would suggest any Anastasia product. Literally, if you just brush through your brows and set it with a brow gel, you look very put together. But I think brows is kind of an essential step as well. I know people think that they're not really essential, but honestly, cleaned up brows make you look so put together. So any Anastasia product is great. I love the Anastasia Brow Definer. And then the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel is phenomenal. And yeah, that is it. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at CW819 and my Twitter's PokerFace819. And my Snapchat is PokerFace819. And thanks guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was so long. Bye. And hope that this helped you. Bye.